I am Russell, and let's call over for YouTube. Joel Sage, that is my buddy Patrick McCray, that is my buddy Emily Gallant. We are here to review the movie Majestic, directed by Frank Darabont, uh, written by Michael Sloan, produced by Frank Darabont. Okay, guys, I've never heard Michael Sloan. Do you guys know who that is? Yes, no, maybe?
I don't believe I have either. I was wondering if it was a Stephen King non film or something.
Oh my god!
Because Darabont did work a lot with King during these years. So
now the cinematographer we're familiar with, I think this guy did a Bond movie, David Tattersall, I believe. Cinematographer.
What Bond movie did he do?
I don't know. I thought he did one though. He did. Oh no! Like okay, budget for CGI driven films like the Star Wars prequel. Okay, that's where I heard it.
Okay.
Okay, I knew I heard that name somewhere. Music by Mark Isham. Production companies Castle Rock Entertainment, Village Roadshow Pictures, NPV Entertainment, Dark Woods Productions. Distributed by Warner Brothers. Release dates December 21st, 2001, United States. Budget $72 million. Box office $37.3 million. So yeah, this did not do well. Guys, when did you first see this movie, Alan?
Well, yeah, yes.
It was a feel good. I went to see it in the theater, and I'd heard about it being kind of a feel good, and I was in the mood for that. At that point in my life, I was going through what would amount to be some major changes in my life over the next couple of years, and I was getting ready to do that emotionally and so on.
What year was
this? 2001.
2001?
Yeah.
It was
I know. It doesn't seem like it was that long ago, does it?
Well, Jim Carrey never ages.
Holy shit. It was 2001. The cast is amazing in this film.
It's really good.
It's unbelievable. Even the smallest role. I mean, Balaban doesn't have a huge role in this, but he's just perfect. And I adore Bob Balaban, and I hate him in this movie because he's such a jerk. So I mean, he does a brilliant job as well. I had never seen Laurie Holden in anything major before this film, and she's really good.
This was before Walking Dead, right?
Yes, quite some time before it. Another reason why I thought maybe that the writer was secretly Stephen King, because it's also Castle Rock Entertainment that's one of the producers. I saw this. Either I know for a fact that all sorts of odd things were happening at this point in time. I had a cat that was in the process of dying. I had a wife who was off in Virginia doing a show. My parents had gone off for the winter, so I was taking care of their house.
You didn't take flying lessons in Farsi, did you?
No, I did not. I didn't go that far. But it was a weird, kind of lonely time. And I was in college again. I was in the process of getting my undergraduate degree finally at the age of 41. So I saw this either the last week. I mean, I saw it in the theater. I'm not sure I went the first week or the week after New Year's. It was one of the two.
When in the year was it released?
It was December.
Wow.
Like 4 or 5 days before Christmas.
Oh, Jesus. And after 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
Oof.
Yeah. I mean, it was actually, it didn't do well in the box office for a multiplicity of reasons, and it should have. And I think its release was obviously not one of the reasons why it would have done well. At the same time, when I went to see it, it was like, this is exactly what people need right now. This was what I needed.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I had that experience with Ed Wood. And it was, I was in graduate school. I just started graduate school. And I felt kind of demoralized over my artistic identity. because that's what they do when you first go in graduate.
Well, yes, they
MFA program anyway.
Yeah, you have to kind of let everything you've got your experience go and
pretty much, yeah. And it was a perfect tonic for that.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, there are times when the universe just says you need this movie.
Yeah.
That was it. Yeah.
Yeah. And
I can see how this film fit that bill.
Yeah, it did. And Carrie, this was also one of the first sort of straight things that he ever did. This was before Truman, and it was a revelation for a lot of people to see him in this kind of role, in a romantic lead role, basically.
Was it for Truman Show? What year was Truman Show?
I thought it was, but let me double check. And
that's important to carry chronology.
Yeah, I can tell you very quickly. In case you were wondering, Jim Carrey's only about a year and a half younger than me.
Wow.
So he's 63. 64. He was 64 in January. And I'll be 66 in July. So yeah, about 18 months difference. I had forgotten that he was partnered with Jenny McCarthy at one point too.
Oh, and Annie Bax.
Yeah, that crazy shtick. Career, Toronto. Looking for it, guys. We'll find it. Because he was in Living Color and he did all of that stuff before he became a film star.
For a long time, every movie he did was supposed to be his breakout serious role. Even Liar Liar.
Yeah, which is, even though it's a comedy, it's dark and so on. Yeah, and it has a serious true. You know, I take it back. Truman Show was 98.
Yeah,
Truman Show was before this, so Truman Show would have been the first high impact serious role that he had.
He's very good in this. He's so subtle.
He is. He's very relaxed in this movie, you know. And
Ron Rifkin towards the end of the movie in the cab, I thought was very effective.
Yes.
I can't even tell you why, but I just thought of these guys have wonderful chemistry.
Yeah. Well, I thought that that Carrey's choices in the HUAC meeting were really good, because he could have, you know, I'm going to explode here, you know, because
he's terrified.
And he's terrified and so understated, the whole thing. And he just uses that water glass as a psychological gesture. Once the pressure is on, and he's making the decision. I'm going to go to jail now, although it never happens, fortunately, because it is a two Franks movie. It's Frank Capra and Frank Darabont, as we were mentioning before. That was not going to happen, but this is one of those movies where the cynic in me just melted away. It's like, oh, that would never happen in real life, you know, that kind of stuff. It just went away.
There's a lack of winking at the audience.
Yeah,
it's very honest.
Yeah,
it's very, very, very straightforward. It's very honest. Every place. Now, I love Robert Zemeckis, okay, but every moment that Robert Zemeckis would have ruined with just by pushing it just a little too far to make sure that, okay, now cry now.
Yeah,
Zemeckis would just have a flashing sign. You know, yeah. I love about
yeah.
He lost me in Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a movie. I was talking about it today with some people, and I said, you know, I still haven't seen the whole thing. But
he plays that wind up baby's room music a little too much.
He does. That was a movie where I got creeped out by the way people were responding. There were people who kept going back to see it like 10 or 11 times.
Yeah.
It's in its first month.
Yeah.
People who couldn't talk about it without bursting into tears. And I just thought, no, this is a movie I need to stay away from. There's something hypnotic in the popcorn, or what's going on?
It's in the butter.
Yeah, they're flashing subliminal messages to the audience or something. I got to get away from this. So I saw The Cowboy Way instead. And even Cowgirls Get the Blues and Clifford before I'd see
Clifford the Big Red Dog.
In California, Southern California is the only air conditioning we had.
Yeah.
It was go to the movies and then hop from movie to movie to movie.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. It's but this movie just completely destroys my cynicism. It's just it works. I think one of the reasons it works is because the characters are so well developed that you're rooting for all of them. Even the hostile guy with a hook hand is like, he's really damaged. I hope he gets better.
Yeah, it never goes too far in any direction. They never become best buddies,
right?
Which is what Zemeckis would have done,
right?
They never become best buddies. They never. It is as honest as Shawshank Redemption is.
Yeah.
And Green Mile, and good old Jeffrey DeMunn. God love him. There he is. That's how I knew it was a Darabont movie.
Yeah.
And it's full of so this movie's full of two things, and I'm not going to say the naughty one. No, seriously, it is in terms of its. It is full of faces that look like faces from that period.
Yeah.
Which is post World War II, early 1950s.
Yes, I mean it is full of, and I say this lovingly, it is full of ugly people. In the best sense. I mean, these are not movie star looking people. And I love that about it. Because it made it, even though it has the other thing, which is it's full of, hey, it's that guy.
Yeah.
And I almost feel like one of the reasons Jim Carrey made this movie is to be surrounded by the elder gods of, hey, it's that guy.
Because they're all there.
They're all there.
Yeah.
They're all there.
Yeah.
And, then Marty Landau, after Ed Wood, and he could do anything he wanted to. He sort of paid his dues with Ed Wood and with Crimes and Misdemeanors, and reminding people that I can act.
Yeah,
act. I've been away for a long time, but I can act.
That's right.
And what a luminous presence he is.
Yes, he is. He's a wonderful presence. He's
looking into the sun.
He's like the most positive, the most open, the most willing energy you ever saw, and he doesn't turn down any opportunity to express joy.
He is the uber dad.
There's a lot of production notes for this one, guys. So for voices, Earl Boen, Matt Damon.
Matt Damon plays Luke when he's writing the letter.
Yeah. Unseen studio execs providing voice cameos include Gary Marshall, Paul Mazursky, Sidney Pollack, one of my favorite directors.
Yeah, he just kind of pops in there as a
he's an actor.
Executive.
He was an actor too.
Yes, he was.
Carl Renier and Rob Reiner.
Wow.
Yeah. The original script by Michael Sloan had the working title of the BIG or JOU, and was the title when Jim Carrey signed on in August of 2000. The town, Ferndale, California, provided many of the interior and exterior locations for the Majestic. The namesake theater was built as a false front in the Ferndale municipal parking lot, and the many Main Street buildings were modified by the film company. Train scenes were recorded on the California Western Railroad in Fort Bragg, California. The lighthouse used was Point Cabrillo Light. This one's for Alan. The film is Frank Darabont's solo theatrical film that isn't adaptation of one of Stephen King's works.
The likely story.
Right?
Yep.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, I saw this movie in theaters too, like you guys did. So
I didn't see it. I saw it tonight.
Oh no, you saw it tonight. Okay, I saw this in theaters like Alan did. It was really good. I was shocked that it got low numbers because it was. I mean, Jim Carrey.
It was the timing. Yeah, it was the timing of the release.
I do think things coming off September 11th. It was so hard. You know what I mean?
People weren't really circulating as much for a little while.
Right. I do think because guys like us, like me, you, Patrick, we're moviegoers. We're gonna go see something, right? I mean, that's just our nature. But people were feeling very afraid at the time too. And I mean, I got it. I mean, I wasn't a family man yet. I wasn't even married yet, and I just said to my girlfriend, well, Julie at the time was still my girlfriend. I said, I can't believe people aren't going out. And she goes, they're scared. I said, I get it, but
Yeah,
you gotta
there's still
live.
fallout from that.
You gotta
The
live
fear
the life.
wasn't as the fear wasn't as sharp, but it was still there, and people were
Yeah,
just like, "Oh, I don't want to go out," and they could watch movies on cable and do all the other
yeah,
things and so on, and that's what a lot of people did for a while.
yeah, for a
That's what
long
I did
while.
most of the time, to be honest with you, because it was the middle of winter and in Maine, and I was also going to school. So,
When I first noticed like people start to talk about really going back to the movies was that summer, was the following summer.
mhm.
Uh, a lot of movies people were excited to go through the drive-in, and so I mean it was nice that the summer was getting that, you know what I mean. So it gave you hope for the fall theaters. So, but
Was I think Spider-Man was that next summer.
yep, yep, I believe so. I believe you're right.
There was well, no, it might have been 2003. I know there's a delay because originally he captures the Green Goblin in a web that he weaves between the Twin Towers.
Oh
Uh,
yes.
I would have left it.
Well,
I would have left it.
Sam Raimi's Spider-Man was an O2. But also The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, The Bourne Identity, 28 Days Later, great movies.
The
Uh,
first, yeah, first
Gangs
one.
of New York, oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so, yeah, there were a lot of good movies coming out that year that people were going to want to go see. So it got people to come back to the theater. So, for the most part. Uh, what's some of you guys' favorite scenes in this movie, Patrick?
Oh boy. I mean, I just saw it, so it's still kind of settling with me. Uh I always like these kind of movies before they have to pay the piper. I know that paying the piper is, part of the ritual of a story like this, that they can't get away with it forever. Um, but when I'm teased with the thought that it might, and for a while, I was trying to work out in my head how he might actually be this guy.
Yeah.
Maybe he left the town for some reason, changed his name, moved to Hollywood for a reason. And that, obviously is not the movie that they made, but a little bit of that wish fulfillment that was going on. I like all the wish fulfillment, Return to Willoughby type stuff
Hmm.
going on.
There is. There's a ton of it.
I really love that about it. And then the rest of the movie, I put up with. Not that it's bad, but it is like, okay, now I gotta face reality, but the ending and it's wonderful. It really sort of earns the rest of it. It's it's a type of movie. It's a cliche to say, but we have to say it that Hollywood doesn't make anymore. And this might have been the turning point when this type of movie was finally not acceptable. And I almost wonder when Darabont made it if he knew that and was like, I'm going to make it anyway.
I think he knew it was a risk.
Yeah. And what a world where this is the risk.
Yeah, I know.
That's a sad state of affairs. But I mean, that's the stuff that really stands out to me, Julie.
Hmm.
It's not as surgical as the question is. Um, but that's my immediate takeaway from the movie and all the stuff in the movie theater. Missing the changeover, obviously, has a lot of a just symbolic impact for me.
Hmm.
Having grown up in a movie theater and the horror of that, and then there were parts of me that went all movie theater geek on it, like the fact that he would not be standing behind the screen sweeping up little piles of God knows what, basically waiting
Rat
for her
turds,
to come
probably.
in.
Yeah.
While waiting for her to come in, that there would have been speakers there.
Yeah.
That's where your main speakers were. And that was, and I felt ashamed of myself for going, wait a minute, that's not how that would make sense.
But they had to have playing space, so they didn't have them there.
Yeah, well,
That's
it's too good having a movie on the other side.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll tell you a moment that really got me was the way Darabont handled presenting the audience for when the day the earth stood still, when the day the earth stood still. That their rapt attention was just a wonderful little tribute to that movie and to the significance of seeing a film like that was at that time. I know that's a weird thing,
Yeah,
to really like, but gosh, it's like I show Day the Earth Stood Still, and it's usually to the unimpressed, and it's heartbreaking every time. It's a necessary heartbreak because by the end of it, there are a few who got it,
yeah.
and are appreciating it for what it is. Um, but especially in that sequence, no, you don't get that kind of rapt attention, and it's like, no, that's how you're supposed to respond to this, and that's how you're supposed to respond to this movie.
Yeah.
Alan, what's some of your favorite scenes?
The scenes in which he comes to sort of accept this town, which sort of saves his soul, which up to this point has been in a lot of agony. First, when he knows he's Peter, and then when he doesn't, he's in agony, and all of that residual stress and everything from being in Hollywood and being named and all this sort of stuff has left its mark, even though he doesn't remember it anymore. And when he accepts these people and goes with it and thinking to himself, maybe I am this guy. Maybe I am this guy. I don't remember, but maybe I am. And so that whole sequence is really good. And then the heartbreak of realizing that he's not this guy. He looks at the poster and he sees his name on it, and it just all comes back. And then Adele, he tells Adele, of course, because this is that kind of movie where he's an honest guy, even though he's been put into circumstances which are kind of dishonest. And he tells Adele, and she says, "Oh, I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it." And I always thought that was a key moment in that everybody wanted so badly for him to be Luke, and many of these people probably knew it, that he probably wasn't Luke, but they needed to have him be Luke. And the guy that the janitor of the theater guy realizes it when he starts playing Boogie Woogie on the piano, because Luke was a classical pianist. He wasn't a boogie woogie guy. So those particular scenes probably are most pivotal. Obviously, there's also the Capra-esque scene where he stands up to the committee and he says, "I don't care. I'm not a communist, and it's, what you're doing is wrong, and we have to think about the First Amendment." And he holds up the Medal of Honor, and it basically just everybody in there, in that Capra way, in that Mr. Smith goes to Washington way, and everybody applauds as he leaves, and all this sort of stuff happens. And so those are probably the three biggest points in the film that I would say are my favorites.
Yeah. When he wakes up from the car crash and the dog's licking him,
Yeah.
and the old man's helping him up, and they're walking in town.
Yep.
He's like, "Can you walk? Can you walk?" He's like, and you can tell he does not know where he is or before he says one word.
Yeah.
How he has amnesia. I think Jim Carrey did a really great job of blocking right there.
Yeah,
Um,
it's totally disoriented, and you know something's up, but
yeah,
you're not sure what. And but he's already in that mode where he's trying to figure out what's going on. How did I get here?
and really the best part, some of the best parts about this in the early going is the barber, or sorry, the doctor, I should say,
Yeah,
uh, looking at him in the mirror and seeing,
just thinking he's softly familiar.
yeah, you look familiar,
Yeah,
and he
yeah,
looks like, this Luke guy. And in a sense, Jim Carrey's character kind of does look like him when you see
yeah.
some of the
It's
photos.
from the pictures you can see that the audience gets the idea. Well, this is a different guy,
Yeah,
but he looks enough like him so that people, because this guy was such an important part of their
yep,
optimism, and hope for the future, that they're willing to go, oh well, he would have changed over 9 years, and all that sort of thing. So,
yeah,
but it's an honest mistake. Everything about this is it's not a 3 card Monty.
yeah,
We're fooling you. Everything is an honest arrived at conclusion, even the mistaken ones.
yeah.
And David Ogden Stiers is
Oh
fantastic in this
wow,
movie.
yeah, I
He's
got to
so
say.
just present, and yeah, that's part of the spirit of this town too. He's one of the town fathers, and so is Harry, and they're very similar that way. They're very, very community oriented and concerned, but very open and welcoming, and not particularly suspicious, wondering maybe, but not suspicious. You know,
His first scenes with the woman, got Luke's girlfriend.
Adele. Yeah,
But, yeah, it's like she's like, I'm my jury's still out, and he goes, well, that makes two of us. I'm not sure I'm this guy either.
right.
He's
Hmm.
not claiming to be,
No.
but he does come to accept it because it's like, maybe I am, because I have no.
Yeah.
The only thing I can remember is film, is movies.
Yeah.
Uh, but slowly, when he sees his name snap in the finger, the interact. I think the most underrated is the interaction with him and Martin Landau. I mean, it's so fucking real. Jim Carrey, Martin Landau, really cool together. And when he's falling asleep on the couch, and Landau comes over and fixes his feet, and because Luke was his son, and it's like, okay. Uh, but yeah, the trial sequence that he stood in front of the grand jury, that was good shit.
I was telling me, you may not have heard this, but that's very much like the Mr. Smith goes to Washington
Washington, yeah,
thing,
it is.
where everybody bursts into applause when he's exhausted, and he finally, he leaves. And in this case, he just walks out. Not something that you might see done in real life, but okay, fine. Maybe you would.
Yeah.
Well, it's like I always say, movies have one job, and it's to pick up the slack when real life leaves us bereft.
Yeah.
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 Scale 1 to 10, we guys give the movie.
12.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
great film.
Yeah, it was a great movie. 12 is, yeah. It sucks that it got, the whatever it did, but again, that's time.
It's I'd like to know. Uh, Let me just take a look at here, because what it's what it's done since then. The audience is okay. So critics didn't like it, 42%, but audiences liked it pretty well. But it never really, at least to my opinion, it never really got its due, its credit for the kind of film it is. And one of the complaints is it's overly long, and it is kind of long, but actually the story unfolds quite nicely. It's not like
I
they're
don't feel it.
padding the hell out of it, and it is just 2.5 hours, but it's
Movies
like,
today are too long,
no,
and sometimes their running time is less.
yeah, yeah,
I would love to be able to be smart enough to crack the code on what makes modern day long movies feel so intolerable.
Yeah.
But
as
they
opposed to some that are just as long that just go by like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it comes down to the type of storytelling that's being done.
Yeah, I
You
agree.
know?
I agree. So there.
So F Rotten Tomatoes, go out and watch this movie.
Yeah, it really is when people don't want a movie like this, I kind of wonder what kind of movie they want. You know, that this should not just be ignored, to be excluded, be 42, get out of here.
Yeah.
I mean, I can accept it when a movie that takes this again is not damning with faint praise. A movie that takes a lot of risks gets a bad rating. You know, Dracula Untold, which I thought was lovely. I love that movie, and Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters, and it's terrific. Got terrible reviews.
Right.
I wonder what the hell movie did you see?
Mm-hmm.
In this, no, I don't think they saw a different movie. I just think they came in with a very strange compass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Would have liked to have seen Laurie Holden's career take off a little bit more. I thought she was really fine in this movie.
Me too. She, I think she got cut at the end of Walking Dead. She didn't make it all the way through that show, and that's a shame.
Yeah, I know she did several television series after this.
Yes.
So I mean, she's not like she hasn't had appreciation of payment. She's certainly been well compensated for her talents, but
yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. I definitely give it a 12. This is only I think this is the third time I've seen this film. I watched it again sometime after.
How lovely that I mentioned it sort of out of the blue just because of a vague cinema paradiso pseudo connection.
And there are some parallels. I mean, they're not strong, they're not absolute parallels. But
no, there aren't. I think one of the reasons I stayed away from it, in fact, was when I heard, oh yeah, but it's not really about the movie theater. I was just like, oh, okay. I was so disappointed. And that's not the movie's fault. That had to do with my needs at the time,
right?
And how they were met or not met. That happens.
Everybody happens that way. So.
Jewel, are you all right? What part of your body did that sound come from?
Something. That was my wife. Her shoulder pop.
Oh, okay. That's the trumpeting of a shoulder popping into place.
Yes, that is.
Okay.
That is. Is there anything else with that before we go?
No. What do we want to look at next? Jewel, what do you think? I
have a little more family fun movie for you if you want to see it. You ever see Casper?
Never seen Casper.
Yeah, Casper, the ghost.
Casper, the Friendly Ghost. The semi-animated but also live action movie.
Yeah.
Okay, watch Casper.
Okay. Tomorrow we'll review Casper. Link to Patrick McCray's Dark Shadows Daybook on Mount's going to be in the description box. Link to Alec Galant's YouTube channel. College Sport After Dark is going to be in the description box. Alec can pick the movie for Thursday. We'll let him pick the next movie.
I will. I'll think on it because right now my brain is Swiss cheese. But
you guys have a good, safe day.